fight with honor.
Thundercats are on the move. Thundercats are loose. Feel the magic, hear the roar. Thundercats are loose. Thunder, 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 Thundercats. Thunder, 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 Thundercats. Thunder, thunder, Thundercats. Thunder, 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 Thundercats.
I am Lionel, Lord of the Thundercats. I command you to hunt. Thunder! 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 Thundercats!
That ending always gives me goosebumps at the end.
Sounds like the
lightning and
Sounds
So,
like the
either
80s
way-
in your day.
Yeah, that was
welcome
great.
to the Chronoz Show. I skipped the Chronoz Show intro. It's fine. Just I wanted to introduce myself of Chronoz, and we co-hosting DJC Game Studios.
Good to be here. Very good to be here.
And my special guest today, who has voiced Lionel from Thundercats, voiced in Silverhawks, Tiger Sharks, and Count Chocula, and many other voices he has done. Introducing here Larry Kenney.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Thanks for having me again.
Great to have you. It's great that this is the second time we've had you, I think about 2 or so years ago, around the time that we started with the show. So either way, let's get the questions started and let's enjoy a podcast. We got about a good 30 minutes here. So we kind of got a good feel of how everything started within your career with the first episode we had you, and kind of going into a little bit of that. When did voice acting, did you know it became a thing for you, where it's just like you knew it was something you were going to do?
Well, believe it or not, I knew pretty much when I was a little kid that it was what I wanted to do. Before I even knew you could do it for a living. I mean, I would watch cartoons like little kids and like everybody. Yeah. And my mom tells me that from about the time I started talking, I was doing impressions of, Daffy Duck and Donald Duck and all those people. And so I always knew I could do it. And then when I got into school, I figured out that you can make girls laugh, and they like to laugh.
It's always good, right?
If you were funny and you could do voices,
Yeah.
you get invited to all the best parties at school and stuff like that. So I said, hey, maybe there's something about this. But I really just really enjoyed doing it. That's why I started doing it. Is because it was fun to do, and I found I had a talent in it. As a matter of fact, when I was 15, I started in radio in Peoria, Illinois, not too far from you guys.
Yeah.
And across the river in Pekin, Illinois. That's where I'm from. And so I started as a disc jockey, not a DJ like today, but back when we actually played records.
Yeah. It wasn't just pressing a button. It was actually loading a record player, waiting for the next one. Yeah.
Doing the whole thing. Yeah. And I began to incorporate the cartoon voices and character voices into little comedy bits on the radio. And I kept that up for my whole radio career, which took me all the way to New York. I worked in Peoria, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Cleveland, Chicago, and then New York. And I've been out here for, I think it'll be 50 years next year. I've been in New York. My God, yeah, it has. 1974, yeah. And then, of course, once I got to New York, well, actually, when I got to Chicago, I found that you can make some money doing commercials, aside from the radio job.
Yeah.
And eventually that worked out so well for me that I just quit radio and just did voices full time.
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah.
Plus, radio's a full time. You're constantly on there, and to do it, make way more money doing it here and there on commercials or any other things must be way better work.
Yes, it is. The radio was great. I loved being on radio.
Yeah.
And I did TV. I did a game show for 3 years in New York, Bowling for Dollars. You probably had that out there.
Oh yeah,
with a different hosts. They had different hosts in every major city. That was the idea, that it would be a local game show. And then I did some soap opera, did some acting, just a little bit for a while. Didn't care for it. I got spoiled by doing voiceover because you go to a job and you're there for 20 minutes or maybe
Right.
if you're doing a cartoon series or something, you're there for an hour or a day. But I kind of like the idea of going to one place and working for 20 minutes or half an hour, and then going down the street and working with some other people at a different place for a while. And I kind of got spoiled by that. And when you do television, you have to get there like a soap opera, for example. Oh my God. You get there at 6:30 in the morning and have a little light breakfast as you do a read through sitting around a table. And then you break up and everybody goes their different ways, and the girls get their hair done and the makeup on, and the guys just kind of read the paper. And then
waiting game.
It's a waiting game. Yeah. And I can't stand waiting. Because like I said, I'm spoiled by doing the voiceover where you walk in, you've got your script, you walk in and do it, and boom, you're going, you go to the next place. So anyway, I just cut it all. And I told my agent at one point, I didn't want to go to any more movie auditions or TV auditions, just voiceover. And that's worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you for that. Do you miss the disc jockey days at all? Was it pronounced a world or?
Oh, the first radio station, WIRL, World Radio. Yeah. WIRL.
Was that the Wood Car Independent Racing League, or I saw something? I saw like a whole entire what does it stand for?
Oh, WIRL.
Yes,
I have no idea. I don't know what most.
I looked at the radios. Go ahead. Do you miss the days though? Is it just something you missed that you wish you can go back to, or? Hey, can you hear Chuck?
Oh, I think you muted.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, so go ahead.
I wanted to say something filthy. That's why.
Yeah, we're just censored.
What did I say that you missed? Because I muted it. I don't really miss being on radio. I enjoyed it, and once in a while, I'll get a call from the Peoria radio station. They're doing a memory weekend, and they'll have some of the old disc jockeys back, and
cool.
And if I happen to be back in town, because my family is still there pretty much, and I'll pop in and do a couple hours on the radio, and it's kind of a kick, but I don't really miss it. I enjoy doing it.
Yeah,
but I enjoy everything that I've done, and but I wouldn't want to go back. I wouldn't want to have to sit in the studio again for 4 hours every day and think of funny things to say,
Now, were you daily, or were you in just like a morning personality?
I did the morning show, and when I started out in Peoria, I did weekends. I was only 15 years old, and then after a couple of years, they gave me a little bit more to do. Like I would fill in for the regular guys when they went on vacation in the summer and things like that. And then I became one of the full-time disc jockeys there for 2 years, and then I moved off to Fort Wayne, Indiana. I was only there for a year and a half. Then I went to Cleveland. To answer your question, most of the time I was on the radio. I was a morning guy.
So you're getting up early, then, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. I was for many years. After I got to New York, I was leaving my house in Connecticut at 4:00 in the morning, and I had to drive in because back then there were no trains into the city at that time. So I would get up at 4:00 in the morning and drive into Manhattan, do my radio show, and then I would spend the rest of the day going around doing auditions for commercials and then recording commercials and things like that. And then once I got the job on the game show, Bowling for Dollars, we recorded five half-hour shows every Friday. So on Fridays, I would leave at 4:00 in the morning with my 5 suits and sport coats and ties and shirts, in the back of the car, and drive in and do my radio show. The last half hour of the show, I'd be putting on makeup for television. Imagine how the guys teased me about that.
Why not? No one could see. You just put it in.
Then they would have a car pick me up at 10:00 and take me down to Madison Square Garden. We did the bowling show. They had a huge bowling complex there. We would tape 5 shows, and about 6 or 7 in the evening would be finished, and I would be pretty much finished. And then I'd have to drive home, and So, but I was like 30 years old. So, you know, and when you're 30 years old, you can do anything.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine doing that today, but yeah, it was something.
Awesome. Chuck, you want to start up some of your questions?
Well, I was going to
DJ.
ask, this might go into after that is, so you work in commercials, and as I don't know if a lot of people know, I bet probably, that Sonny Cocoa Puffs of Cocoa Puffs fame.
Mhm.
How did that come about? Because like I'm sorry, that's a big deal. Like you know, like cereal mascots are huge. You know, so like, how did you land that?
Like I landed everything else, auditions.
Yeah,
You have to audition for everything, you know. And I got I think I started doing Sonny first in 78.
Okay.
1978. Yeah, took over from Chuck McCann. I don't know if you guys know that name. He moved out to California to become an actor and did very well out there. And then in 79, I got auditioned for and got the role of Count Chocula. And I did both of those for 40 years. 40 years.
Wow.
Which is unheard of in this business, really, to do the same product, you know, for so long. I'm still doing one that I've been doing now for almost 25 years. Is the Skittles, you know, Skittles candy. I'm the guy. I'm the guy at the end of every commercial that says, "Feel the rainbow, taste the rainbow."
Oh, no kidding! That's great. Oh, that's awesome.
So I've been really lucky in terms of long-term jobs in the voiceover business.
Well, people are always going to buy candy and they're always going to eat cereal, so that's never going away. So.
That's right.
Go ahead, DJC. More questions?
I mean, what's more? All right. Well, I want to go into. I do. There's another one. I know everyone wants to hear about Thundercats, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of that. But I want to know you played the voice of Bluegrass in Silverhawks, which, and we mentioned earlier Tiger Sharks you were in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember, like I don't know how it was in every state, but I remember here in Michigan we had like a cartoon block like in the afternoon where it had like 4 different cartoons airing, like 4 different episodes, and it was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tiger Sharks, Silverhawks, and like one other one. I can't remember. It was like 4 different ones, and I was like, I thought the Silverhawks were so cool, but once again, that like, what was your experience like, you know, on that series? I mean, that for a bit there, that was pretty big, and I had the toys for that.
Yeah,
I had the action figures.
I signed a lot of toys for those things now. I'll tell you, Comic-Cons. And I wish I had kept some of them that I had.
Right. Oh my God, I don't have any of them. I used to have the Buzzsaw, the Bluegrass, and I have Commander Stargazer. He was like you could look through his eye.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, the same cast of us did all of those shows. They're all done by Rankin Bass.
Oh, beautiful.
Production company, which I remembered when I was a kid. Rankin Bass did all the
Rudolph and
the holiday animated series like
Legendary
Rudolph the Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman with Fred Astaire and all of that. So when I got my first job with Rankin Bass, that was on Thundercats. I thought, oh my God. Somebody's going to be proud of me.
Yeah. I didn't realize that they were all made by that studio because, Rankin Bass that's some of my favorite, like you were saying, holiday. I mean, that's to this day is legendary for holiday.
We did for Rankin Bass. When I say we, the same cast basically of people. Me, Peter Newman, Lynn Lipton, Earl Hammond, Earl Hyman. And I guess I'm leaving somebody out. Jerry Ann Raphael. There are only 5 or 6 of us in the cast of all those shows. We did every voice on all those shows.
So great.
And we did for Rankin Bass. We also did a few holiday specials. That a couple of them are still on the air every year. One's called "The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus," which is actually claymation.
Okay, yeah, I think I might have seen that.
Yeah.
I might have it on a DVD. I think because I have a bunch of DVD holiday collections of all the claymation or stop motion, I should say.
One was called "The Star for Jeremy." One was called "The 12 Days of Christmas." We did 4 or 5 of those for Rankin Bass too. All the same people. We became a real family.
Yeah, right. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let me go in real quick with one fast one. For Family Guy episode, what did you I saw it for like it just trips me out. I'm like, is he okay with doing that?
Love it.
I have the clip. Do you guys want to see the clip really fast? It's like
Absolutely.
1 second.
Great. Yeah, I haven't seen it for years.
Here it goes.
Hey, Lionel, what's going on?
I'm not sure, Chitara, but I've got a bad feeling Mumra's up to something.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna use the John.
Eye of Thundera, give me sight beyond sight.
Lionel, what are you doing? Snarf, snarf.
Oh, hey, not much. You want to get wasted or something?
That just gets me going.
That is
How did that
absolutely
come to? Like,
Well, I got a call from Seth MacFarlane, he's a genius. The guy behind
Absolutely.
Family Guy and all this. He had I had seen the Family Guy several times. I thought it was genius. I thought it was funny as hell. But then my agent called one day and said, Seth MacFarlane just called. He wants to know if you'll do Lion-O on Family Guy. And I said, absolutely not. It's a great show. But I have this funny kind of allegiance to the legacy of Thundercats, because it was one of the last of the old cartoon shows where you didn't do stuff like that. It was so clean and so, squeaky clean. And I was afraid that I don't want to do anything that's going to, upset the original fans of the show. And my son Tanner, he said, Dad, you gotta do this job. The big stars, big movie stars are asking to be on Family Guy because it's such a big hit show. And I said, well, the thing is, Tanner, I don't want the fans of Thundercats, I don't want those kids to be upset. But he said, Dad, those kids are 40 years old now.
Yeah, they're watching that show, right?
You're lucky. I said, okay, well, I'll tell you what, send me a script. Have them send me a script. And if it's so they sent me the script, and I said, absolutely not when I saw that script. Well, that was at the point in which my son finally said, Dad, you don't understand. Your fans are not 8 years old anymore. You're not going to offend anybody. And I said, okay, I'll do it. If I get one nasty email, right? Never happened. Everybody loved it.
It's all tongue-in-cheek humor. It's cartoon. It's so great. It
was just so far beyond what we had done 30 years earlier.
Oh, right.
Like everything else is now. And things that offend people.
Oh yeah, someone's always going to find something to be offended about. So.
Yeah. I hadn't seen that for a long time. That was funny.
It is so epic. It just comes out of nowhere. They do those cutaways, and they just do them so great. And I love, but the authenticity of that, having you on that, makes it so much more.
Yeah,
that just makes it epic.
It's amazing.
You don't want someone pretending.
They had used Lion-O's character a couple of times on Family Guy, and Seth had done the voice, MacFarlane. Yeah. And for some reason, he decided this time, let's really get Larry Kenney and Lynn Lipton, who was Chitara. That was Lynn, also doing Chitara. At that point, Bob McFadden had passed away, who played Snarf. So I think I did the Snarf too on that. I'm not sure though. Might have been.
I was going to ask who did Snarf too, because that was a great walk-in. What are you doing?
What are you doing, Lion-O?
Snarf.
So DJC Game Studios, if you have a question also.
Yeah, I was let me see. Let me pull up. I have my list here. Okay, well, this I think is a really good one. So if Thundercats was being remade or brought back, especially as a cartoon, oh my god, I mean, they brought back He-Man and all that. Would you play the voice again?
I'd be happy to. Sure. Of course, I'd love to. Yeah.
I would hope that they would contact you for that, because that's, like I said, it has to be authentic. And if they're going to do something like that with such a great property.
There's been talk about that. There's been talk about that for years, every few years now. Well, as a matter of fact, in 2011, as you guys know, the Warner Brothers, who by then had bought the property, and they still own it, they announced that they were going to do a movie. And they had it signed on a writer and a director. And then about 6 months later, they put that in the back shelf and said, we're going to do a new animated series. And we did. We did Thundercats 2011, on which I played Claudius, Lion-O's father, which I thought was a nice homage I thought that was a nice homage on behalf of Warner Brothers and their people to the original cast and to the original fans, and so they had me do Lion-O there, and then 3 or 4 years ago they did another one called Thundercats Roar.
Oh,
Okay.
I immediately signed on for that before I saw what they're going to do.
Oh no.
And so it lasted, fortunately or unfortunately, only about 8 episodes, I think. But I played on that one. They had me playing Jaga. I think because when the box set of Thundercats came out, one of the special things that you get with the box set, was a game you could play, and they had me doing the voice of Jaga because Earl Hammond had passed away. And anyway, so I've actually been on every version of Thundercats.
Every iteration of it. Okay,
Yeah.
that's neat. That's awesome.
Yeah.
They'd have to. They have to. Let's say yes.
Quick fun question here. Have you ever had done the Lions Thunder call like on your own, like in a fun way? Let's say it's like a full moon out there, and you're in character and you just say it's out of the blue, just as badass as you can. Have you ever had a moment like that where you just out of the blue?
Every night.
I say after
Every
a few
night.
drinks, right?
That's right. I think I'll go out there and give the kids a little thrill on it. Thundercats. Ho!
So great.
I do it. I do it a lot at conventions, though, at Comic-Con. People come up all day long and ask me to do the Thundercats ho, and the Sword of Omens come to my hand. It's a kick. It's really a lot of fun.
Yeah,
See their
absolutely.
faces when they say. I always say, sounds just like the guy on TV, doesn't it? They go, yeah, it does.
No, that's got to be fun.
Yeah.
And DJC, go for another question if you have one. Do you
Yeah.
have
Oh, absolutely. I was well. This is a big one. Was there ever like a dream role, or whether it be acting, voiceover, a cartoon that you ever wanted to work for, a dream role you always wanted to get, or one that you got and was just kind of surreal for you as like a fan of all this?
Good question. And I've been asked that before, and I've never been able to answer it well.
Yeah.
Because I don't recall ever thinking, gee, I hope when they audition for that guy, I hope I get that job. I hope I get that role. And one of the reasons is back then, from the 70s on, I was so busy doing things. I was doing, and as I mentioned to you, I was doing a game show on TV. I was doing a couple of soap operas. I was a disc jockey on the radio, and did a couple of record albums. And I just had a full plate, and I was having such a great time doing what I was doing that I really didn't have time to sit around and think, gee, I hope I get this or I hope I get that. And I don't actually remember any auditioning for anything that I didn't get and was really disappointed in. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I guess I've been so lucky.
Well, yeah, everything you've got is turned into something huge.
Yeah.
So it's like, it might be. I should ask that question to someone else. Going, do you wish you would have? But yeah, that is.
I wish
true.
you hadn't been so successful.
Right? But you've been very successful on everything that you've gotten. I've never. You can't say that you haven't been.
Yeah, I've been so lucky. I'm so blessed.
If I can, Chronoz, is it cool if I do a follow up on this?
Sure, no problem. Yeah.
Talk about like when you get a role, especially like a cartoon role, is it to come up with a voice or a voice for that character that is for that character? Do you kind of look at like an episode where it plays out in the animation? Do you kind of look at just a picture, like say for like Bluegrass, you're like, well, okay, he's got a cowboy hat, but how can I see him or hear him in my mind? Like, how do you come up with those voices? I know that's a big question too, but
yeah, well, it's a combination of things in different situations. In some situations, they tell you exactly what they want.
Yeah.
For example, both with Count Chocula and Sonny, the Cocoa Puffs bird, what they wanted us to do us being the people who were auditioning. They auditioned about 1,000 people for each of those jobs in LA and New York and Chicago. And the first thing they say is, we don't want you to come up with a new voice for Count Chocula, because the one that Jim, oh gosh, I forget what his name now, who had been doing him, Jim Dukas, had been doing him for years and years and years when I got the job. He was retiring. And they said, people know Count Chocula by that voice. Kids know him. And we don't want to change it to something else. I mean, it's working. Why change it? You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they hired the person, me, that they felt sounded closest to what he was doing. And the same thing with Sonny. Chuck McCann had been doing him for years. I remember when I was a kid, Chuck McCann was Sonny the Cocoa Puffs bird. You know? And I got to work with him a couple of times over the years when they brought him back to do another character, Grandpa, it was a big part of the earlier commercials. Times had changed though, and I didn't get to work with him in the studio either time that we worked together. I was in New York in the studio, and he was in LA in the studio. Technology, we could do that now.
Yeah, right.
So I was upset that I didn't get a chance to work with him. But so sometimes they tell you that here's exactly what we want to sound like. We want you to copy that.
Right.
And then for other things, for example, with a lot of the other voices on Thundercats, well, Lion-O was just my voice, not this.
Yeah, I can hear that a lot in that. Yeah, so like that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't sound like him right now today because I've got this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lion-O was pretty much my voice. And they told us now that for the Thundercats themselves, we don't want cartoon voices. If you'll think about it, the Thundercats were just human voices because they were half human, half
more of a realistic voice instead of something like kooky.
But for the mutants, you know, Mumra and all those, that's where you got to really chew the scenery, we call it. And go far out.
Yeah, the villains are always fun, right?
So they asked me to do Jackal Man, and so I said, okay, well, Jackal Man, what would he sound like? And they have illustrations for you there. The walls were lined with drawings of the characters and Cat's lair, and you really got immersed into what the show is going to look like. It's kind of like, I see you sitting in your thing there, and looks like it's all very cartoony, you know, where cartoons are made or something. So I thought, okay, a jackal. First of all, what the hell is a jackal? I knew it was an animal. It's kind of like a wolf, very sly, you know, and so they sneak around. They creep their heads down like this. So I said, okay, he's sly, so I can give him this name. And I remembered, as I was looking at the drawing of it, I remembered I kind of channeled a character on one of my favorite shows of all time, Rocky and Bullwinkle. Snidely Whiplash, the ultimate villain. He had the top black hat and the mustache. And
the mustache. Yeah.
I'm going to get you, Nell, and tie you to the railroad tracks.
So I kind of came up with Jackal Man, who sounds like,
we must get the Thundercats, yes?
That's so great.
That's what you usually do. You kind of look at something and maybe look at a couple of pages of dialogue, but the kinds of things he says. Does he have a catchphrase like yes? And then you kind of build on that, you know.
That's epic. Then you know, that's all together. It's just fun. Like that's what this all is. It's just really so much fun, and to be. You're very blessed to just have done this. You know, it's so awesome. Man.
Thank you. I am. And there's no heavy lifting either. You know, you don't have to get the dress.
that's always a plus, right? No manual labor other than with your voice, which, you know.
No makeup, no costume. Right. You know, no spending hours in costume and makeup.
Very good. Right now we're getting towards the last minute. We're heading for a half hour here, so just about finished. Let's do something quick. I know, are you able to do a little extra snarf voice for us? I meant.
Snarf. What's the matter? Snarf, what's the matter, Lion-O?
Shut up, Snarf. Oh, that's in one of our outtakes. That's right.
Let's see
who's loved or hated Snarf. He's kind of an annoying little character.
Well, it seemed like every cartoon back then you had the Orko, you had the Snarf, you had the oh my god, what was in the Silverhawks had the little guy that was like the computer voice guy, like you always had the small little just they had to bring some humor, comic relief, you know. So
comic relief, exactly. Yeah.
All right. We are at that closing period. Let's say I know that you have a cold right now. You don't have to. I'm going to ask you again if you would like to do the thunder call for us. If not, we already got it already. But
We'll
if
do it right
you
now.
can still do it.
It may break up a little bit. You can hear my voice breaking up. Let me mute my mic one more time. Thunder, 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 Thundercats. Ho!
Flying over
All
the
right,
court,
all
just
right.
okay.
This
That was
has
beautiful.
been a great episode, and I thank you so much for the opportunity you're giving us, to interview you and talk to you again. Thank you that you've always brought a lot, through all your talents and through the years, our childhood growing up with you. Thank you so much. DJC, you want to finish your finishing thoughts real quick?
Just great to meet you. Great guy. Good talking with you, man. And thank you so much. And Chronoz, thanks for having me on here again. It's always fun to meet some great people. And I
want to thank Nintendo Gamer Guy for popping up, and for Veronica Hernandez, big fan of yours, for popping up. And until then, did you want to say something, Larry?
Can I say something? Whoever, I don't know if you guys put together that opening sequence or whatever, but that was fantastic.
Oh yes, definitely. It took me several. I'm gonna play that. That's how we're gonna end the podcast. It took me several hours to do. I did a whole lot of extra editing to put it together, and a lot of hours that I love working with. So, thank you for all that. And if you want, I can make something separate. Take the Chronos out of it, put it all, and I'll send you your own version of it for yourself.
Oh, that'd be wonderful if you get a chance. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And for everyone watching, thank you for coming. And see you guys till next time. This is the Chronoz Show of DJC Game Studios, and Larry Kenney as our special guest. Until next time, take care, everyone.
Bye-bye. Take care, everyone.
Thunder, 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 Thundercats! Ho! I have to fight with honor.
Thundercats are on you. Thundercats are loose. Feel the magic, hear the roar. Thundercats are loose. Thunder, 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 Thundercats. Thunder, 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 Thundercats. Thunder, thunder, Thundercats. Thunder, thunder, Thundercats.
I am Lionel, Lord of the Thundercats. I command you to halt. Thunder, 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 Thundercats!
Master Sword Music.
TJ the Gamer. Yeah, this the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the Gamerz Realm, this the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the Gamerz Realm, this the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the Gamerz Realm, this the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the Gamerz Realm, yeah, this the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus got one of the best casts that you have ever seen. You really missing out if you haven't heard that this show here to stay. So go pass the word, old school or new school. Check us out on YouTube. It don't matter what you like, we got something for you. Just one more thing to say before I start to close. Shout out to my homies at the Chronoz Show. The Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the Gamerz Realm, that's the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the Gamerz Realm, that's the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the Gamerz Realm, that's the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the Gamerz Realm,
Thunder, 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 Thundercats! Ho!